Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to Daily's 2A News. Today, just want to give you guys a brief update as to what's going on with the possible injunction in California's ammunition background check law. The case is Rhode V Becerra. Now, I'm going to go ahead and post this across both channels because this is a pretty big topic. Usually when things like this pass in California, they tend to be implemented all across the country. I mean, most recently, look at Virginia. A lot of the stuff that Virginia was trying to take up were laws that were already passed and for the most part held up so far in the state of California. So if something like this were to hold up, guaranteed you're going to see something like this pop up across the rest of the country. So I think it's a very important one, and that's why I'm going to post this across both channels. Now, there has been some recent movement in the case. You guys might remember that an injunction was placed by Judge Benitez. Judge Benitez placed that injunction on the law, and people were able to buy ammunition from wherever they wanted and have it shipped to their home. The government stepped in and was granted an emergency stay, which means that the law was put back into effect for the time being until the arguments were heard again. So on May 7th, we have our last little bit of movement, and that's what I want to talk about today. This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link in the description box, become a member, and donate when you can. I know I say that all the time, but most of us are not Second Amendment attorneys, so we have to support those Second Amendment attorneys and advocates who actually can go to court and fight on our behalf. It costs a lot of money to do so, and so all the support that we give them really does help. Okay, so here's the latest on the case. So we have Judge Benitez who issues the injunction. Then we have California who comes in and asks for a stay. Benitez says, no, you're not going to get your stay. So then California goes to a couple different judges and asks for an emergency stay, which was granted pending further argument and a decision on whether or not the injunction should stand or the stay should stand. So we were waiting on those arguments, and those arguments have now been issued. So those arguments are now entered, and we know what each side's arguments are. The last argument was entered just a few days ago on Friday, May the 7th. So now we know California's position on why they're asking for the stay to stay, essentially. So I want to read you guys a little bit from that because it is kind of telling as to where California is coming from and what their position is on this law. And also, I think that in their introduction to their argument, they actually kind of step on their own feet. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that as well. But the arguments are in, so now the judges can look those arguments over and come up with a decision on whether or not to leave the injunction in place or leave the stay in place. And so we're going to see what happens here very soon. But again, I want to read you a little bit of what California said in their argument. Okay, so here's what's interesting about California's argument here is that they're not even denying that there are problems with Prop 63 and that there's problems with this law and that people are being denied their constitutional rights or that there's problems with implementation. They're not denying any of that. They're simply saying that the people that are involved in this lawsuit, so the specific people involved in this lawsuit are not being injured by this because they can simply go through a background check, pay their $1 fee, and then get whatever ammunition they need. And so they're not being injured by this. And so California doesn't care about what's happening to the rest of the state. They could care less if Joe Blow up north goes to do a background check and is denied his Second Amendment rights because of some issue with their system. They only care about the specific people in this lawsuit. So they don't deny that there's problems with it. As a matter of fact, they almost admit it in some cases. But still, it's very telling to see where California is going with this. Again, they don't deny the broader law has issues. They're just saying that the plaintiffs don't have issues. So in the introduction, it says, if this appeal proceeds without a stay, hundreds, if not thousands of prohibited persons, including violent felons, the dangerously mentally ill, and others will have unfettered anonymous access to ammunition at their local firearm stores. Well, first things first, felons and what do they call them? The dangerously mentally ill, people that have already been adjudicated mentally ill, those people are already not allowed to have ammunition. So what you're telling me here is that you're unable to enforce the laws that are already on the books. And so you're trying to cover for yourself by adding more and more laws and burdening those people who have not broken the law so that you can stop people who already have broken the law by adding another law that you think that somehow is going to help or that they'll follow. So try and keep that in mind. They're essentially punishing you because of people that have already broken the law. That's how unfair California is. Once those prohibited people purchase ammunition, getting it back will be next to impossible. So again, you admit you are not able to enforce the current laws that are in the books Why should we continue to enact more? If, by contrast, this court stays the district court's preliminary injunction decision pending resolution of this appeal, Kim Rhode and the other individual plaintiffs will continue to have quick and easy access to ammunition. For $1 and a short wait, they, like the vast majority of firearms owners with a record in the state's automated firearms system, can buy ammunition using a standard ammunition eligibility check. Okay? If you read deeper into that, what they're saying here is that already, okay, remember when I said they kind of admit it? They say that a vast majority of people that are in the APHIS system can get access to ammunition. They're not saying all people, okay? Not all people that are already in that system can get access to ammunition. They're saying that a vast majority. So they're already saying that some people will not be able to get ammunition that are already in the APHIS system. And if you're not in that APHIS system, meaning that you don't already have a current record with the state of California, guess what? You got to jump through more hoops. You got to pay even more money. There's going to be even a bigger wait time, and you might be denied because of it. Because you are not already in that system, you could be denied. So again, they're kind of admitting already that it is, they're taking away people's constitutional rights here. Plaintiffs do not dispute this, so the plaintiffs would be Kim Rhode. Plaintiffs do not dispute this in their opposition, and nothing in the record or the law support the wide-ranging facial injunction entered by the district court here, especially one entered 9 months after the plaintiffs filed their motion. The irreparable harm the state faces by prohibited persons acquiring ammunition outweighs the minimal burden that the background check imposes on the plaintiffs. And the Attorney General has made a strong showing he will succeed on the merits. A stay is plainly justified under the circumstances. So they're saying that Javier Becerra has a pretty good chance of winning here, right? And they're also saying that other people that maybe didn't have their constitutional rights or had their constitutional rights taken from them because of this law simply don't matter. And that, again, the damage to the state of California is going to be so bad that there's just no way that you couldn't issue a stay here. It's just absolutely going to damage California. It wouldn't damage California if you guys could already enforce the laws that are on the books, but you suck so bad at your jobs that you think simply adding more and more laws, that's going to do it, because you'll be able to enforce those ones when you can't even enforce it. You couldn't enforce the original one that's supposed to keep, violent felons and violently mentally adjudicated, mentally ill people from accessing ammunition. But now, if you do this, it's supposed to work, but you couldn't even implement that the right way. And so everything's messed up, and you think that you need a free pass on it, basically. So anybody that's not part of this case, okay, so is not Kim Rhodes or any of the other individual plaintiffs, if you are not a party to this case, you're considered a non-party. And so as part of their argument, they're saying that the plaintiffs in this case do not have standing to seek redress for alleged harms experienced by non-parties. That is their main argument. So again, I know I'm kind of reiterating here and I'm bringing it up just to make a point, but anybody that they consider a non-party is irrelevant to them. It doesn't matter if you couldn't get your ammunition. It doesn't matter if the law didn't work for you. It doesn't matter if you were denied your Second Amendment rights. If you're a non-party to this case, they could care less about you. It's only about the plaintiffs. And if the plaintiffs are allowed access to ammunition through this stupid background check system that is just destroying the Second Amendment in California, then they don't even care. So you could see they are in some ways admitting that there's problems with the law. They are saying that they don't care what's happening to the rest of the state in regards to this law. They are just stepping on their own feet left and right. And I'm hoping that the judges can see through this, and the judges will see that it's not just the plaintiffs. And yes, I understand the plaintiffs brought the case, but this is an issue that affects all California citizens. And if it's allowed to stand, if the stay is allowed to be put in place, and this law goes through and it's held up, I guarantee you guys are going to see this in so many other states. There are states that I guarantee you right now, the attorney generals are watching this one very, very closely. And if it's allowed to stay, you're going to start seeing it just about everywhere else. So it's very important that we make sure that this one right here gets just stopped absolutely instantly. So make sure that you guys are staying on top of this. I'll put a link to Michelle and Associates down below where you can actually go to the page that represents, or at least has links and updates to everything that's going on with this case, and you'll be able to follow it there. So I'll put that down below. I want to thank all of you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Stay strong, keep the Second Amendment alive, and have a great day.